Hello, my dear friends. How are you doing? Hope you are having an amazing day and not having to deal with drama. Ready for new stories I have for you today? Let's go to the first one. And don't forget to listen to the end of the story, guys, to hear my insights. Enjoy the stories, and don't forget to like and subscribe. And of course, don't forget to leave a comment. I, 33 male, have always had a complicated relationship with my parents. Growing up, my younger sister, Lily, 30 female, was clearly the favorite. They were more lenient with her, gave her more opportunities, and supported her financially in ways they never did for me. For example, when I wanted to go on a school trip in middle school, they said we couldn't afford it. But when Lily wanted to go on a similar trip, they somehow found the money. This pattern continued throughout our lives. Lily got a car for her 18th birthday, while I got a second-hand bike. I tried to move past it, but it was clear who they favored. As we grew older, this favoritism didn't stop. They helped Lily with her college expenses, while I worked multiple part-time jobs to get through school. When I graduated, there were no celebrations, but Lily's graduation was a grand event with a lavish party. Despite all this, I worked hard, built a stable career, married my wonderful wife, and tried to maintain a civil relationship with my parents. A few years ago, my parents decided to downsize and move into a smaller home. Instead of selling the house we grew up in, they decided to give it to Lily. They said she needed it more because she was starting a family. I was hurt. My wife and I were also planning to buy our first home and could have used the help. When I brought up how unfair this felt, they brushed me off, saying Lily always needed more support and acted like I was being selfish for even mentioning it. The final straw came when they asked me to help them renovate their new place. They wanted me to spend weekends fixing it up for free, without any acknowledgement of how hurt I felt. I refused, explaining that I wasn't willing to help after the way they handled giving away the house. They were furious, accused me of being petty, and we had a huge falling out. After that, my parents went no contact with me for 5 years. During those years, a lot changed. My wife and I bought our own house, and we welcomed 2 beautiful children. Then, a few weeks ago, my parents showed up unannounced at my door. I was shocked. They looked older and more tired than I remembered. They began to cry and begged for forgiveness, saying they realized how much they had hurt me. They told me they were no longer in contact with Lily. Apparently, Lily had cheated on her husband, who then divorced her and took full custody of their kids. Her new partner, a guy she had the affair with, doesn't like my parents and forbids Lily from seeing them. Now they were desperate to reconnect, especially since they wanted to be involved in their grandchildren's lives. I listened to them, but I wasn't quick to forgive. I told them that their actions had hurt me deeply, and that for years they had treated me as if I were less important. I then gave them an ultimatum. If they wanted to rebuild any sort of relationship with me and be a part of my children's lives, they needed to take back the house from Lily and divide its value equally between us. I explained that this wasn't just about the money. It was about fairness and acknowledgement of years of favoritism. They needed to make things right if they truly wanted to show they had changed. My parents were taken aback by my demand. They said it would be difficult to take the house back from Lily, especially now that she was in a difficult situation. But I stood my ground. I told them that this was the only way I would consider moving forward. If they weren't willing to make things right, then they shouldn't expect to just walk back into my life whenever it suited them. They left my house looking defeated and upset. I could tell they hadn't expected me to be so firm. I haven't heard back from them yet, and honestly, I don't know if they will agree to my terms. Part of me feels guilty, but another part feels relieved for finally standing up for myself and demanding fairness. So now, I'm in a bit of a limbo. Did I go too far with my ultimatum? Was I wrong to demand that they take back the house and divide its value? Or was this the right move to make sure they understand how their actions have affected me? I'm trying to think about what's best for my family and myself. I personally think that OP has done what so many people struggle to do. He stood up to toxic family dynamics and asked for what he deserves. He's not asking for anything outrageous. OP is asking for fairness. Whatever they decide, OP has shown them that he won't be walked over anymore. I'm proud of OP. And now let's hear the community's opinion. Not the a-hole. Your parents created this situation by always favoring your sister, and now they have to face the consequences. Your ultimatum wasn't unreasonable. It was about fairness and setting boundaries. If they're serious about making amends, they'll find a way to do the right thing. Good for you, OP, for standing up for yourself. Your parents need to realize that they can't just dismiss your feelings and then expect everything to be okay when it's convenient for them. It's not about the house. It's about acknowledging years of favoritism and unfairness. Stay strong. Absolutely not the a-hole. You set a boundary and communicated clearly what you needed for a potential reconciliation. If they truly want to make things right, they will consider your terms. If not, then at least you know where you stand. Sometimes, taking a stand is the most important thing you can do for yourself and your family. My cousin, 25, and I have been best friends our entire lives. We get along so well because we're the opposite of each other personality-wise. When we were younger, she was always the outgoing one, and I was the opposite. She dropped out of high school and got married at 19, had a baby at 20. I went to college. Through this, we've still remained best friends. However, for the past year, her animosity towards me has really made me question our relationship. She now has 2 kids, is a stay-at-home mom, and they rent a small house, share a car. I own my own house and really have done well for myself. Am currently single and am just enjoying life. It started when I upgraded my car to a Lexus. I was really put off by her reaction. She didn't even try to hide the fact that she was bitter about it. She got a horrible look on her face, made passive-aggressive comments about how it must be nice, and was actually upset with me. She's always making comments about how I get to live my life, I have a career, I travel, I go out with friends, etc., and makes me feel horrible about it to the point where I've stopped talking about myself. So she just rants about how she's stuck at home all day. She has to wait until her husband isn't using the car to go anywhere, and is sometimes really explicit about how much she dislikes her life. The real kicker is when I closed on my house a couple months ago. When she saw it, she went nuts, and not in a good way, telling me how it's stupid that I bought a house bigger than the one she lives in when I don't even have a family. It's not fair, and I'm rubbing it in her face, this and that. It was so mean and dramatic that I haven't talked to her since, and it's really hurting me. What do I do? You don't have to make your cousin happy, and you don't have to maintain a relationship with her. Enjoy your success and hang out with other people. It's jealousy, plain and simple. She's jealous of your car, she's jealous of your house, and she's jealous of your freedom. There's nothing you can do about how she's feeling. It's absolutely not your responsibility to reassure her she made the right life choices. They were her choices and had nothing to do with you and your life choices. She is a deeply unhappy person and taking her emotional distress out on you. If you don't want to be her emotional punching bag, you certainly have that right. We can't fix other people. We can love, support, empathize, help, comfort, and console, but it's genuinely impossible to fix others. You've done what you can for her. You're allowed to stop reaching out or responding to her if she's behaving badly, and she really is. Don't let her steal your joy. If the only way she can be happy is by making you miserable, then that's just too flippin' bad. She's responsible for her own life circumstances. My fiancé, childhood sweetheart, and I recently discovered we're expecting. This came as a bit of a surprise. We didn't want to try until next year. However, we're extremely happy and are both in cozy places in our careers. I just got promoted to a position where I'll have plenty of time to be with baby and can even have her at my place of work. We're in the motions of getting a bigger place than we have now. We got engaged before we found out. Things are looking great, yada yada. We decided to wait until we had an ultrasound about 2 weeks ago to surprise my mom with a "congrats, you're a grandma" gift in front of the family. I thought they'd be excited that I finally decided to get going. They've asked on multiple occasions, but instead, I got some mixed feelings. About 2 years ago, my cousin Leia had an early pregnancy that resulted in the baby dying. I'm extremely close to my cousin. She practically raised me after I left home at 16, and we lived together at my grandmother's house while I was finishing high school. We were all extremely devastated, and since I was the first to show up at the hospital, I took charge of getting her to counseling appointments, taking care of her birds, all of that. My point is, she's my cousin, but more like an older sister. My family is extremely close, and since there's been a noticeable difference in the air, Since the death of her baby girl, we all meet up every month on her birthday and put up tiny notes to her, a tribute to her short life here. Leah runs a blog that has picked up popularity and posts about her baby and grief awareness daily. It's a really sweet thing she does in her memory. When we announced the pregnancy, my mother immediately said, "Babies don't all make it." Leah ran out of the room sobbing. I ran after her and comforted her as much as I could. I felt extremely bad and had anxiety about this, but my fiancé had convinced me it'd be all right in the end. The mood was extremely somber and people were crying. My mom was kind of void of emotion. My grandparents were very happy, but warned me and cautioned me the entire time. It was kind of a fiasco, but I tried to focus on "we're happy for you" and not the "but" that came after. A few days after, I met with another cousin, Mia, who asked me how I felt about that night. I kind of faked it and said it went okay when she intervened. She said it was uncomfortable and that Leah had been talking about how unfair it is. Mia said that Leah's circumstances were completely different. She's about 10 years older than me and had had a massive surgery that left her believing she would never bear children. Mia said I'm young and healthy and they need to let me be happy and that she was sorry for that. I kind of agreed, but said I understood why everybody was so concerned, and left it at that. Flash forward to now. There's a symbol we use specifically for Leah's baby. Leah has been sending our family group chat images of gender reveals that are all her baby symbol themed. It's really awkward. I kindly told her that fiancé and I have already decided we don't want a gender reveal. She didn't take that well, and everybody else in the chat tried to convince me that it'd be fun. But I'm firm. We decided months ago that it wasn't our thing. She wants all types of things for the baby shower, and all a certain color and style. All the things she used for her little girl. They're all supporting her. I feel so awkward about this. Another thing to note is, Leah has mentioned multiple times after the death of her little one that I should carry a baby for her. I used to be anti-kid, and she would joke that if I ever got pregnant, she would take the baby. Well, I want this baby. I visited my grandmother a couple nights ago, and Mia and my mom were there. My grandmother raised all three of them, Leah, Mia, and my mom, so they're all very close and often call each other sister. Mia asked me how I felt, and I didn't say much. Mia then started saying that it wasn't fair they were letting Leah try to insert her own fantasy on my pregnancy. And my mom was arguing back, saying Leah needed room to heal. She needs this. I should understand all of that. My grandfather came home and they argued some more, and he wouldn't let me leave until he had deemed I had eaten enough and was okay to drive. He's also trying to convince me to get rid of my pets, and said he won't argue further and it needs to be done. He ended by reminding me not to be too protective of my baby. They're all treating me like I'm going to lose it any second of the day, which I know could be a possibility. But I'm always talking to my doctor, and I know right now I'm fine. I feel like Leah is trying to use my pregnancy to mimic her own, and it's freaking me out. At the same time, I feel guilty. I know a death of a child stays with you forever. I can't imagine how that must feel. I don't want to be the jerk for telling her she needs to back off a bit. I don't want to be insensitive. I guess I'm at a loss for what to do. My fiancé says we're going to do things the way we want to do, and that it's our experience only. I agree. I just don't know how to get my words out and whether or not this needs to be nipped in the bud. This could potentially impact my relationship with the majority of my family. Am I reacting to this correctly? How do I approach this without coming off an a-hole? Your family is acting insane and kind of creepy. I know that losing a child is hard, but someone projecting their fantasies onto you is a bit much. You need to sit down with everyone at one time, your fiancé to your right and Mia, the only one who gets this, to your left, and have a firm announcement. You need to let them know that you are pregnant and you and your fiancé are doing what y'all want for your child. If you don't want a gender reveal party, they need to suck eggs because it's not happening. You should make it clear that any negative opinions, any references to Leah and her experience, and any negative conversations will not be entertained or tolerated. You need to nip this in the bud before it gets worse. Pregnancies end. It happens. It's tragic. But your cousin has had enough time to mourn. She is jealous, no doubt, but she needs to back way the hell off. She can adopt if she wants a baby that bad. And your parents siding with her over you is weird to me. I grew up close with my cousins, and if my parents sided with them on this, I'd be offended as hell. At the end of the day, this is your baby. You are carrying and developing a tiny human in your body. Your emotions, stress levels, any and everything you do and feel affect this baby and its development. End all the crap now so you can have a healthy baby that grows into a healthy child. I've been no contact with my mom for about 5 years. I went no contact because she tried to break up dear husband and I when we were dating. Claimed dear husband attacked her. He had never been around her alone and had only seen her once or twice at all. Almost got me fired from my job by calling my recorded work line to scream cry at me about dear husband. Threatened to lie to the police and have me arrested for stealing her car because I didn't want to talk to her due to the above reasons. She helped me out when I was a teenager by purchasing a car. She let me drive it with the intent that it was mine and I was paying her monthly for the car payment and insurance. The amount I was required to pay every month varied, and she refused to have any conversations with me about the loan. It was easier just to give the car back to her when she threatened me, because I don't know how much of what I was paying was actually going toward the loan insurance. Her refusal to give any details prevented me from making any accelerated payments to pay off the 10-year loan quicker. Aired out our drama on Facebook. I am mixed race, white Alaska Native. She is white. She pretended not to take a side on the issues our indigenous minorities have faced, but actively dated a Trump-supporting police officer. She lived in his house, and I could not see her without being in his home, him being there. In the past 5 years, I have gotten married and had 2 children. She was not invited to or informed of our wedding. She only became aware and met our oldest son due to us having to be in the same place due to my grandmother's death and a cousin's wedding, that he only invited her to so she could try to make amends. I was always polite to her, but was not interested in fixing our relationship. I feel like seeing her at the hospital, wedding, has caused forgotten traumas to be remembered, and I have had to try working through those while having young children, being pregnant. She has tried reaching out multiple times, and I've never responded back to her messages. Recently, she messaged me telling me about a life insurance policy she had on me as a child, and that she recently transferred ownership into my name. She did not give me further details, and I imagine there will be more strings attached, as I know she wants a relationship with my children. My immediate inclination is that I should tell her to cash out the policy for herself, as it's not my money, and I couldn't take a significant amount of money from her. I also don't want to seem like she can purchase a relationship from me, and think she might tell the family this to badmouth me. That being said, it's potentially a $20,000 payout, and would go far in terms of relocating us where we want to live, a several thousand-mile move, in a shorter amount of time than is currently possible. I'm stuck between accepting so I can brighten the future of my family and telling her to keep the money due to public perception and the strings that are likely to be attached if I engage with her. What should I do? Update. First, because people keep getting caught up on the life insurance thing. I understand how typical life insurance policies work. I have life insurance outside of this policy. The insurance policy that was chosen when I was a baby allows them the option for the adult child to cancel the policy and cash out the monthly premiums paid. I did not respond to her message. I did, however, call the insurance company and confirmed the account was in my name. I then updated the contact information from hers to mine. The cash out amount for the policy is around $10,000. I can choose to continue paying the monthly premiums or cash out the policy. I still face the moral dilemma of keeping the insurance policy, cashing out or paying monthly premiums, or cashing out and giving her back the money because it's not my money and we don't have a relationship. Honey, it's a trap. If you cash it out, then she will think she has bought your time and attention. It will not be free money. It will be a leash she will put around your neck. I'll bet she is grasping at straws trying to think of anything to get to you. If you really must speak with her, then I would get a lawyer. Have a lawyer call for this insurance information and pass it on to you. It would only be a couple of billable hours, so not too expensive. And I will bet she won't be able to lie as smoothly to a lawyer compared to the lies and guilt trips she would put on you. Keep a layer of separation between you and her. It's safer. Update upon reading your update. You don't have to decide what you want to do with it right now. Take some time. See if she starts escalating attempts to contact you. Make whatever decision will bring you the most peace, and try not to let guilt overwhelm your decision. I am the oldest cousin on both my dad and mom's side of the family. My dad is the oldest of 16 kids, and my mother is the oldest of 7. Fair to say, I have a lot of cousins. My cousin in question is the 12th eldest on my dad's side. I'll be honest and admit I was already a bit upset with how quickly my cousin and her now husband got engaged and eventually married. It's been an unofficial tradition in my family for the oldest cousin to marry and have children first. That is how it has worked for the past 5+ generations. My husband and I have been together since high school. As soon as word got around that he would be proposing, my cousin's boyfriend made the swift decision to propose so they could marry before us and say they were the first. Their wedding was back in May, and I had a feeling they would rush to have a baby so they could say they were the first on that as well. Sure enough, she showed up to my wedding wearing a tight dress that made it obvious that she was expecting. My family is abnormally overjoyed by babies, so my wedding quickly turned into a pregnant belly love fest. I am very hurt and considering not attending the baby shower when it comes. I hope this doesn't come off as immature or envious. I just feel very hurt by all of this. Your life will feel a lot more fulfilled if you stop comparing your achievements against other people's, either by comparison or who did it first. If there was malice in your cousin's actions, then hold your head up high and don't let it get to you, as that's the only way they can win. I hope you have a long and happy marriage.